you noticed that a lot of news outlets seem to be pushing the exact same message when it comes to Trump and Brexit? That because Trump's America is putting a 15% tariff on the stuff that the EU sells to America, whereas they're only putting a 10% tariff on the stuff that the UK sells to America, that somehow proves that Brexiteers were right all along and that Brexit has real, tangible benefits, that they are completely vindicated because Trump is treating us differently. But the UK does 46.5% of its trade with the EU, whereas it only does about 17% of its trade with America, so like a third. So the difference we're talking about, because we're outside of the EU, is that instead of a 10% tariff on 17% of our trade, there's going to be a 15% tariff. And it's already been calculated that even if there was a 20% tariff on all goods coming from the UK to America, that would only hit the UK economy by about 0.8%. So the difference between the 10% tariff that we have now, outside of the EU, versus the 15% tariff that we'd have if we were still in the EU, that can only be about maybe 0.3% of our economy. Whereas the Office of Budget Responsibility, so the main economists of the UK government, they say that Brexit is costing our economy about 4% of the total size. So we are talking about saving maybe 0.3% of our economy, but at a cost of 4% of our economy. Because Brexiteers are prioritizing slightly protecting 17% of our trade, but damaging 46.5% of our trade. And yet many of our news sources, including Reform politicians, of course, because they're the reason we're in this mess, are pushing the narrative that this proves that Brexit was worth it. And my dad's a rhinologist, so he specializes in noses, and he confirmed that in order to make such a colossal mathematical error, your brain would have to be in the process of dribbling out of your nostrils. What I'm saying is, the people who are trying to get you to believe this narrative, they clearly believe you are stupid.